Today we'll be talking about why we started doing the carnivore diet, fears about doing carnivore, weight loss and weird things that we had going on, which surprisingly healed, why the channel is called Carnivore-ish, and finally, how difficult is it to follow this carnivore diet? Hi, my name is Susan.
Hey, and I'm Alan. And first and foremost, we are not doctors and we do not play doctors on TV. No. We are attempting to do this channel right now because we want to chronicle our carnivore journey. And a few years ago, we actually started doing the keto diet. That was back when COVID hit for the first time. And I actually even made a video of some of my weight training during the time when I was doing keto because I lost weight and my strength actually had decreased a little bit. But the diet itself wasn't too bad. We were eating a lot of salads. Pretty much every night, still lean chicken breast, which was, again, not the most tasty thing in the world. Basic stuff, a lot of coffee, because I love coffee. Of course, we'll talk about what's happened with coffee in my life since, but it worked. And I stayed fairly lean, but again, we got off of it after a little while, and I would say over the last couple years, I probably got up to the heaviest that I have ever been. I'm not saying good weight. I continued to work out over that time, but I got to the heaviest I had ever been, and I started noticing lower back fat, which was something that I never enjoyed having. I think it's something that runs in my family. I'm not the only one that has that, but that got me thinking about, again, the diet, the lifestyle I live, the types of food that I routinely eat.
Plus that video you watched.
And then I came across a video by Dr. Sean O'Mara talking about how visceral fat is sometimes, I haven't had a body scan or anything to see exactly what kind of percentage of visceral fat I have, but because he says, there's a correlation between lower back fat and visceral fat, and I had lower back fat, I was like, I'm pretty sure I've got visceral fat. I need to do something about that because it seems to be, according to what I'm hearing, one of the more dangerous things to have. You can't see it necessarily on the outside except for certain places, but the inflammation that it causes, other health problems. I was like, I need to really maybe get back on keto or maybe something more extreme. And that got me going down a rabbit hole looking at all kinds of carnivore videos. Dr. Anthony Chaffee, Ken Berry, Sean Baker. There have been a number of videos. Like literally weeks of just watching videos and deciding, are we going to try this diet? Because we're okay. We could do keto again, and that was okay. But there was a temptation, definitely on my part, to go, full carnivore. Though we haven't really gone full carnivore, we're definitely moving in that direction. So,
but we're like 95% carnivore, I would say, at this point.
Yeah,
right,
I would say point. About 95%, maybe even a little more. Depends on the day. There are times when we cheat a little bit more. But we'll talk about that as we continue to talk.
But then you mentioned it to me, right?
Yeah, I brought it up and suggested it, and I actually sent her links to watch some of the same videos.
And I was watching them, and I was interested, but I was like, only meat?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah, there's always
I don't think I could do only meat. That's crazy.
Yeah, and one of the things that I noticed back when I was doing keto, and I guess we could talk about this down the road as well, but during the keto time, I noticed when I went to get my blood work done at the doctor that my cholesterol had just elevated. I have always had just really low LDL cholesterol. Everything's been perfect number-wise.
Same here.
But during keto, it was in the very high.
Yeah, mine went up too when I did keto.
Actually, two years in a row during that period, my LDL was off the chart, and I was, of course, concerned about that because of all the things that you hear. So again, getting to do the carnivore thing, thinking, okay, this is probably going to be even worse for my cholesterol. It was kind of a challenge listening to advice that doctors were presenting, saying really maybe it's not something you need to worry about so much. So
yeah,
I'm trying to at least control the emotions and say, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. And even if my LDL goes up, and by the way, I am going for blood work, I think in 2 weeks.
Okay.
2 weeks or 1 week, I forget. But it's my annual physical, so I'm going to get the blood work done, and I'll see where I'm at after just a short period of time on carnivore.
Well, contrary to his lifestyle, I have never really been fit. Although I have not always been this overweight, okay? So throughout the years, maybe I should start by saying that I have birthed 6 children. So not easy for, keeping your weight down, although some people, it seems like they could just go right back into their regular pants. They're before pregnancy pants, but I'm not one of those people at all whatsoever. So with every child, I've gone up, and then within about 2 years-ish, because, minus the breastfeeding and all this kind of stuff that you have to keep up the calories, and I don't diet while I'm breastfeeding. So I would basically come down almost all the way. I never went all the way back. Maybe once, when I was 30. When I had Gabby. She's now 20. But I was 30 years old when I had her, and I did go all the way back down to my pre-pregnancy weight, and that was, I think, the only time I've ever been that thin. Since then, I had 3 more children after that. Wait, I have 6 kids. Did I say I have 6 kids?
You did.
Okay. So...
we just don't remember how many go on which side of Gabby. So
yes, I think I had 3 more after that.
Yes.
And then none of those times did I ever go back to my original weight.
And our last one, I think we both put on weight during that pregnancy.
Exactly. The last one I had at age 40, and he's now 7. So he's going to be 8 this year. So I'm actually 48. And how old are you? 53?
53.
As far as working out is concerned, I have worked out in the past, especially since I've been with Alan, but like throughout my whole life, I didn't really pay too much attention to working out. I mean, before having children, I was thin. I was, I guess, what you call skinny fat. I don't know. I was never really actually muscular or anything like that, or athletic, or, the thing I like to do the most is probably just salsa dancing. That's about it.
It's a good workout.
It is a good cardio workout, and that's probably what kept me on the thinner side, early on. But let's see. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's 14 years ago. So when he told me about the carnivore diet and showed me some videos, I was watching these videos where they're talking about how, my Hashimoto's is in remission. And for those of you who don't know what Hashimoto's is, it's a thyroid disease. Basically, it can go either hyperthyroid or hypothyroid. So you could be on either side, losing too much weight, gaining too much weight. But when you get older, it tends to stay in the hypothyroid, unfortunately. So, although
you've had both.
I've had both. I've gone up and down. But so I've been taking. First, I started taking levothyroxine. Then, more recently, maybe in the last year or so, they changed me to Synthroid, and I've been taking that all this time. But that disease does not help you lose weight at all. I mean, it's not impossible to lose weight, but given that now I am in perimenopause, that just complicates everything. So, as I'm sure most women who have gone through this already know, it is very difficult to lose weight during perimenopause or menopause. And then add the thyroid situation to that and forget it. Let me see. I have tried diets. Yes, I have tried diets throughout my life. Obviously, every time after I had a baby, I would, get on a diet to lose weight. The first one was Atkins. The first 2 weeks, you're supposed to do, I think it's the first week or the first 2 weeks? The first 2 weeks. I think it was the first 2 weeks, you're supposed to do no more than 20 grams of carbs a day. And so that's what I did, but that's where my diet ended. Then I went right back to eating whatever it was. But during that time, in 2 weeks, I lost 14 pounds, which I was just like, what? Immediately, like a pound a day. And I was like, this is crazy. But then
Why'd
I would
you
just
get off the diet.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I would just get right back to eating probably the Frappuccinos.
Okay.
Because that's my next topic.
Yeah, boy.
I am a Frappuccino addict. Okay, I am a sugar addict. I cannot have sugar. If you give me one Frappuccino, I will go on a binge for a week of Frappuccinos. I don't care about eating. I don't care about sleeping. I don't care about anything else as long as you put my venti Java chip Frappuccino in front of me. I'm a goner. That's it. So that is, horrible, absolutely horrible for Hashimoto's, horrible for menopause, horrible for just trying to lose weight, just for
Health.
everything, my health in general, exactly. Especially if I'm drinking that and not even eating,
Yeah.
because I would have 1 to 2 a day, 1 to 2 a day, and then eat a salad with chicken breast at night. That's it. That was my only meal for the day, because I wanted to fit in. I wanted to have the calories to fit in the 1 to 2 frappuccino. It was crazy. It was crazy.
And that's one of the biggest mistakes, obviously, that people make is
Yeah.
just treating all calories as if they're the same. It's like it's just a matter of calories, period, as far as how you're whether you're gonna be healthy, lose weight, whatever.
And
but
that-
clearly, a frappuccino calorie is not going to be
Yes.
the same as a ribeye calorie.
And that brings me to talking about Weight Watchers, because that's another diet that I tried, and I was very successful with Weight Watchers, but I'm sure I was very unhealthy as well, because I had, I don't know if you know, but you count points instead of calories. You count points, and you get to know the points. And I ate mostly frozen foods, mostly. So my main meals were like the frozen pizza, all Weight Smart ones or whatever, the frozen pizza. But I would have at the very least 2 of the little square brownies per day. 2 of them, because I am a sugar fiend. Okay, so it was horrible, but I lost weight. I did lose weight, but I'm sure it was not great for me. So then after that, I met Alan, and Alan is not my first husband. He's my second husband. So that's why I'm like, I had never gained weight until I had my first kid. Okay. So, but I had my first 5 children from my previous marriage. And then I had my last child, who's 7 now, with Alan. And we've been married almost 9 years now. My first marriage, I got married at 18. So let's see. There goes the Weight Watchers. That was after my 5th child. And then since I got nice and thinned up for that, at that point, then Alan scooped me up, even though I had 5 kids.
So let me tell you a little bit about what went on in that very first month. So it was like January 3, 2024 is when I decided, all right, I'm doing the cardio thing. I'm just going to go, cold turkey, cut out the carbs, and just dedicate myself to eating meat. As a matter of fact, I don't think I even mentioned it to you, but years ago there was this book. It's probably still in print. I don't even know. That was about eat right for your blood type. I think was the name of it. Eat right.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, and I remember. And tell you the truth, I couldn't even tell you what my blood type is right now. But I know when I looked at the chapter on my blood type, it actually recommended red meat as one of the things that would be good for me.
Really?
So, I've always been a big fan of red meat anyway. So I was like, okay, I could do this diet, I think. So Sean O'Mara, like I said, was the one that kind of got me interested in trying the carnivore diet. He recommended fermented vegetables. So I went out, and one of the first things I did was buy a bunch of kimchi so that I could have a little bit of fermented vegetables every day. I don't do that as consistently because I've kind of been moving more and more away from the vegetables. And kimchi, it's not my favorite thing in the world, so I don't really miss it when I don't have it.
Right.
But, the other things that I suggested were things like sprinting, right? Adding sprinting. So instead of doing like the treadmill, jogging, which I used to do a lot, the elliptical trainer for 20 minutes or more, I decided to go for more of the, kind of the HIIT training, right? Walk and do, short sprints, stuff like that. At the time, of course, I had torn a meniscus in my knee doing jiu-jitsu, so I had been in kind of bad shape as far as being able to get to the gym and do the things I used to do. I couldn't do legs. I haven't gone to martial arts. I didn't go to martial arts for months while my knee was I didn't go to martial arts classes for months because I was trying to rehab my knee on my own. I didn't want to have the surgery, which the doctor recommended. And I still couldn't squat down all the way because there was inflammation in the joint, which was really bothering me. So I didn't know if I was going to be able to do the sprinting part, but I at least started the carnivore part. And one of the things that I noticed pretty fast is the inflammation started to reduce. I had general pain in my body just waking up every morning, right? I was always in ache. I figured I'm in my 50s now. I guess this is part of life, right? Low back pain, soreness getting out of bed, hard to wake up. But not long, and I'm going to guess within a week and a half to 2 weeks, the inflammation started going down. I was able to get up out of bed easier. My knee inflammation started going down to where now I was able to actually go back to jiu-jitsu and even started a judo class. I figured I wouldn't do that until I could actually kneel in seiza, which I can do now. So obviously the meniscus I don't think is necessarily healed. I've been rehabbing it, but inflammation is reduced. So that was one of the first things that I noticed as far as the benefits on the diet.
You lost 10 pounds.
Lost 10 pounds. I dropped within probably about a week and a half. I lost 10 pounds. The one side effect, people talk about the keto flu. And this was kind of a negative thing. I had never had a keto flu prior when I did keto. Never really hit me. This time, it was probably about a week and a half into the diet, and I was at work. I was getting ready to go teach a class. I'm a teacher at the community college. And I stood up. I was in the library just working on my computer, and I stood up to go to the classroom, and I just got hit with a dizzy spell. Didn't really panic, but I was like, I don't know if I can walk down the hall and get to the classroom. So I sat down, tried to, drink some water, whatever. Got
Probably
back
your
up.
electrolytes were probably.
Possibly, but I got up. I was still dizzy. I was still dizzy after that, and it lasted probably for 3 days. I was able to at least figure out how I can keep my balance and not look too wobbly, but it was a weird dizziness. And I had been taking electrolytes and salt and stuff like that in my water, so that was a problem. But then it passed. Okay, so that was kind of that keto flu type of thing that happened. I heard that some people go through that. You didn't go through anything like that.
I did not have dizzy spells. Instead, I'm sorry for being graphic, but for me, it was diarrhea. Diarrhea for also 3 days-ish.
Yeah, and I didn't have that.
He didn't have that. I wasn't even taking electrolytes.
Yeah, no
He was
constipation.
taking electrolytes and was getting dizzy spells, and I was not taking, because supposedly, if you take electrolytes, then you don't get dizzy spells or all this kind of, or it helps.
Yeah.
But I did not take any. I still don't take electrolytes.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I didn't have either the constipation or the diarrhea that people talk about, but the dizzy spells hit me. But once it passed, it hasn't hit me again. I've been fine since then. Everything's been perfectly
the only
normal.
time I've had that again is if I eat way too much fat.
Okay.
If I eat way too much fat. But that's once in a blue moon if I overdo the fat, like we did chicken wings. And when I do chicken wings, then it's like, maybe it's the sauce too. You never know, because that's
Could be the peppers.
Yeah, the peppers.
Yeah.
Who knows? Your eyes.
Okay, yeah, my eyes improved. This was another thing that I had been suffering with literally for years. I had been to the eye doctor at least 2 to 3 different occasions to have my eyes checked. I had been feeling a lot of pain in both eyes, and it could happen randomly. Usually when I slept, it could wake me up in the middle of the night. It feels like there was a piece of glass or sand in my eye, to the point where if I open it, it would continue to water, and I want to be closing it. And if you close it, it just aggravated even more. I couldn't touch them. The doctors didn't really have anything to advise other than eye drops. They just said there's dried tear ducts and stuff like that. But it was just incessant, almost every night. And like I said, both eyes were doing it. So that went on for literally years. But I would say within about a week and a half into the diet, and I started waking up and realizing, my eyes had not bothered me all night long. It hadn't woken me up. I wasn't having a problem. I could actually touch my eyes without them, starting to water and the pain hitting and all that kind of stuff. So that was very unexpected. I wasn't expecting anything like that from my eyes to improve.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me with my eyes. I had severely dry eyes. They weren't hurting like his eyes with the sharp pains and all that, but I had gone to the eye doctor to talk about why my eyes are so ridiculously dry. They keep leaking and leaking and leaking, especially this one. And it would leak so bad that I would just be constantly doing this here, and it would irritate the corner of my eye. And it just was persistent. And so I finally went to the doctor, and they said, oh, there's nothing really you can do about that. You could take eye drops. Here's a prescription for some eye drops. And, that's the kind of thing that happens with age and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I'm going to be dealing with this for the rest of my life. So I was like, all right, well, hopefully the eye drops work. And I got the eye drops, and I was using them constantly. They worked very short term. I would put them on, and then a few minutes later, I'd need more, and I'd need more. So I'm like, okay, I can't live like this. Then I started just investigating myself, because I was like, there has to be something for this. So I just started watching YouTube, of course, and I found out that you can take Claritin or something like that for, or whatever antihistamine, to reduce the inflammation, because there was something there that's transparent. I forgot what it's called. But it gets inflamed, and it comes up, and it's just it's constantly bothering you, because you can feel it just bulging, right? And the Claritin actually helped. But if I ever forgot to take the Claritin, it would come right back. And I started the carnivore diet, and it completely went away. Completely went away. When, like maybe a week in or 2 weeks in, I was like,
Probably about that.
well, when I noticed, I realized that I hadn't been taking my medication for like a couple of weeks. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've forgotten to take my Claritin. And then I was like, wait a minute, I don't need to take the Claritin. I have not had dry eye. We have been on this diet since the beginning of January. For me, technically, I've been on it from the 19th, like very strict from the 19th. He's been on it since the 3rd of January, very strict, but I had a relapse. Because Frappuccino relapse, yeah, because we both started it on the 3rd, but I was doing more like a keto. I mean, it was still like 90%. I don't know, because I was doing, it was like ketovore that I started. So that whole first month, I did basically ketovore. And the main thing that was like completely off of that list was nuts, right? I was having, because I thought I was going to do more of a keto, not a carnivore. So I was looking up recipes to do, because I used to have yogurt with granola, but, you know, with all the oats and all this kind of stuff. So instead I made keto granola, which is just nuts and seeds and all this kind of stuff. And then I would add blueberries and strawberries and a little bit of stevia, and that's it. But so all this stuff healed with the nuts, mind you. I was not completely strict carnivore yet, and all of these things were healing, and I was just like, what is going on? And so slowly but surely I've been getting I'm off the nuts now completely, but I've been slowly but surely getting more and more just pure carnivore at this point. But that first month it was healing and just eating that diet.
Yeah. And the other thing that I noticed about myself, and I didn't even realize, that I probably had some kind of irritable bowel issue.
Yeah, undiagnosed. Yeah.
Bloating and gastric problems.
I kept telling you probably have irritable bowel.
Before I could go to the gym, every morning, I would have to go to the bathroom at least 3 times.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the big reoccurring thing, and I figured it was because I'd been doing heavy squats, stuff like that, there was often a lot of bleeding, which was just incessant. As a matter of fact, I had that looked at a while back by a doctor. They did a colonoscopy to see if there's any issues inside. It ended up being just kind of minor hemorrhoids and stuff like that. But, of course, they recommended a lot more fiber in the diet. And, of course,
that made it worse.
Yeah, I was taking psyllium husk. Actually made everything pretty smooth, but it didn't really stop the issues with the bleeding, the bloating. Exactly. And then the last few times, over the last year, I had gotten sick, and I had never throw up. Probably when I was a kid is the last time I threw up, and then over the last couple of years, probably 2 years, there were every once in a while I'd get hit with something that was just like vomiting and diarrhea, be sick for a day or more, like the worst I've ever felt in my life. And I noticed that each time it hit, it was actually after taking psyllium husk. I don't know if it was just a coincidence, which it could have been because I took it sort of regularly, but then I stopped for a while. Mm-hmm. I took it again. I had a bout kind of like that as well, so I figured maybe I'm allergic to it. I don't know. But then I was still taking, even when we got onto carnivore, because again, one of the other worries was if I don't have any fiber in my diet, how's that going to work? So I was taking soluble fiber, because the psyllium husk is insoluble fiber, mm-hmm. but I was taking just kind of a clear soluble fiber, and then I cut that out, and really, the bloating's gone. Bathroom's just like, once a day, very easy. Bleeding has stopped. Things are healing. There were other issues that I don't need to go into, but night and day.
All you ladies out there who are losing your hair, let me tell you, get on the carnivore diet. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I have been able, since I got on the carnivore diet, I have been able to retain my hair and even regrow hair. He has not been able to regrow hair, on the other hand, but I sure have. So
you're a beard, but that's about it.
Exactly. But no.
I'm waiting to see if it turns black again.
I know some videos, I hear some people say that their hair gets darker again, and I'm like, imagine if your beard got black. What the heck?
Crazy. I'm not expecting it, but it'd be nice.
No, yeah, but I was not expecting so much hair to grow back, because ever since I started taking levothyroxine when I was diagnosed, I immediately lost my hair. Like, it was bad. Every time that I would go take a shower, I was petrified of how much hair I was going to lose, and I would brush my hair first, and I brush it into the sink so it's not all over the floor, and then I can, easy cleanup. But the amount of hair that would be in the sink, I could make a small animal out of it, right? And then I would go take a shower and lose a whole other small animal worth of hair in the shower. And so every time I would wash my hair, it would be so frightening. And ever since I've been on this diet, it was like what? I used to lose 3 to 4 times as much hair than I lose right now. So the amount of hair is now, it's a teeny tiny animal instead of a humongous animal in the sink or on the bathroom wall. So the first time that happened, I was in shock. I ran out of the bathroom, right?
Yeah,
to tell you.
Excited.
I was so excited. I was just like, come look at how much hair I lost. Barely anything. Oh my gosh. And so it was crazy to me. And then I started seeing like under here, little baby hairs growing in, even after that. And this has just been fantastic for my hair. Thankfully. Other than that, my mood, I was having hot flashes. I was having mood swings. I was depressed for no reason, because I have 0 reasons to be depressed. I have a family who's healthy, a husband who loves me and is healthy, and yeah, there's no reason for me to be depressed. And that was rough. And ever since I started this, my mood,
Possibly
perfect.
some of the cutting out the coffee and the sugar.
The caffeine, yeah.
Almost positive those are the big causes of some of it.
Exactly. That's my guess. Yeah. That's my guess, that basically all the amount of sugar I was having, the amount of caffeine I was having. I said 1 to 2 frappuccinos that are venti, like the huge ones. That's a ton of caffeine and a ridiculous amount of sugar. And so that just had me very cranky, it was horrible. And it's crazy. Yeah, I'm like night and day, right?
Yeah. Now, I had coffee every day as well. I mean, I'd have espresso and heavy doses of caffeine. It didn't bother me anything like her. I was obviously.
But I have all these other things with the Hashimoto's and all that. It's just even worse.
I cut it out too, of course.
And you don't have menopause.
No, I don't. Not that I know of, but I cut out the coffee as well, and I think neither one of us had any coffee or caffeine withdrawal symptoms.
That's right.
I was expecting headaches, and
that's right. I did not get a headache.
Yeah, no headache.
After all that coffee, I did not get a headache at all. That's crazy. Yeah, I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. What else? So mood is fantastic.
So she doesn't bother me with her mood, but she also doesn't bother me with her snoring either. Because I would record her sometimes.
Just throw me under the bus.
Snoring at night. It was so loud.
I didn't even know I snored.
Nobody knows they snore, but she definitely snored, and it was loud.
I thought the times that you recorded me, it was just like that one time that I snored.
No, it was just
because I was like facing up or something.
It was just if it was exceptionally humorous. I decided I had nothing else to do. I was wide awake, so.
Oh my gosh, you're horrible. You're horrible.
And that's gone.
Oh, yeah.
That's gone.
So apparently, according to him, I wouldn't know. But according to him, I do not snore anymore. And apparently I used to snore constantly. Yeah. So that is crazy too, because it's just a weird thing. I was not expecting, I didn't even know I snored. So I was definitely not expecting it to stop, for me to stop snoring. What else? I also felt the same thing as him as far as the bloating and that kind of stuff. I wasn't constantly in the bath. I didn't have it as severe as him. But within the month, I lost 10 pounds. You've lost 13 pounds so far, but in the first month, he lost 10 pounds. So far now, how long have we been on it? Today is March 14th.
For me, about 2.5, almost 2.5 months, a little shy.
Yeah, so far he's lost 13 pounds, and I've lost 10, which I already lost within the first month. And right now my weight has been just going barely, ounces up, ounces down, ounces up, ounces down. I'm trying to figure out,
we're definitely, and if anybody out there knows,
reduce calories. I don't know.
Any tips, we're happy to hear them.
Yeah, I know I don't want to reduce my calories too much, because I'm trying to actually gain muscle, because I'm also working out now and lifting weights, and I have a history in my family of osteoporosis and all kinds of stuff, so I want to avoid all those things. So I am lifting more consistently now, and when I don't lift, I go out for my walks, and we go out together, which is very, very pleasant. And but talking about the bloating, I took my measurements before the diet, and after about a month, I could tell that just in my belly, it was an inch further in. Like, it was an inch shorter, smaller. So I was like, okay, now we're talking. We're starting somewhere, right? Oh, also, now that I'm working out, well, in the past, anytime I've started my work, because I'm always starting working out, right? I'm never continuing to work out. So I'm always like ridiculously sore. My thighs are like, I have to literally to sit on if I do legs, literally I have to hold on to the bathroom doorknob and like gently sit on the toilet. It's ridiculous. And ever since I've been on the carnivore diet, I have not had to do that. Soreness is practically nothing.
Minimal. Yeah.
Very, very, very minimal, which is crazy to me because I'm telling you, I could not, especially not the next day after working out, but the day after that. That day, there's no way I could sit or stand or do anything. It was just like absolutely excruciating pain.
Don't touch my legs.
And don't touch my legs. Yeah. And that's not happening anymore. So I'm very psyched about that because that will help me stay in the workout zone, right?
Yeah. I've always enjoyed the soreness, but I don't have that as much either.
Oh, really?
I haven't really thought about it, but again, I've been doing it longer. So.
All right.
So we ended up deciding to name the channel Carnivore-ish because we weren't strict carnivores yet, and I feel very carnivore-ish. So, actually, a lot of things that I really wasn't ready to give up. Obviously, I gave up coffee, which I love. Haven't touched nachos, which I love. Cheese has been cut back drastically, which I love.
I cut it out completely.
She cut it out completely. I still eat blue cheese for sure, especially if we have
blue
chicken
cheese
wings.
is
But
okay, yeah.
you know, when we make certain dishes, you know, there's still it's not just the salt and meat. I
Right.
haven't been able to go that far. I've still used pepper. Probably something I need to cut back on.
And
Garlic. I'm an Italian, so you know I can't do without garlic. Plus, I figure vampires are more dangerous than inflammation, so
Yeah.
I'm going to stay with the garlic for now. But different things like that. Like I've gotten rid of the seed oils, which was huge. You know,
Yeah.
If I'm making chicken wings, for instance, you know, we found some good carnivore keto-ish recipes for chicken wings in the air fryer, which are great. So we don't need to use oil or anything like that. Make our own sauce, basically based on a butter-based sauce, but it still has the cayenne pepper, right? The Frank's Red Hot, essentially the basic one,
Right.
not with the stuff with all the other stuff added
Right,
to it, which
right.
is important. But again, if you're gonna have hot wings, you gotta have blue cheese dressing, and you can't get blue cheese dressing without all the seed oils in there. So I started making my own blue cheese dressing.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I'll do a video on the recipe that I kind of used. I modified some things that I came
But it's
across,
good.
but yeah, it's
good.
Greek yogurt and blue cheese, which is basically I don't know if it's considered a fermented cheese or whatever, but it's one of the
Aged.
healthier cheeses. So I still have
Moldy.
cheese in the diet now and then. That type of thing. Definitely making beef jerky. That's obviously one of the best treats. I got addicted to making beef. I was baking
Yeah.
beef jerky basically every weekend. We didn't do it this last weekend, but almost
And
every weekend I
my
make
son
beef
loves
jerky.
it too, the little one.
Yeah, we got a dehydrator.
Well, they all like it, but
Yeah.
the little one loves it.
But of course, I use crushed red pepper and some of the seasonings in there, like coconut aminos. What else do I use?
The vinegar?
Apple cider vinegar,
Apple cider.
right? So there's some things that were like really popular in the keto community that I'm still using. So we can't say
Yeah.
we're 100% carnivore, but our daily meals
Oh, yeah.
are pretty much we'll have
Eggs, bacon.
a lot of eggs, a lot of bacon, ground beef, a lot. We'll make our own burger patties. That's probably the thing we eat the most for dinner.
Yep. And then we have the ribeye.
Ribeye. We've been starting, more
Porterhouse.
steaks, porterhouses. I
Yep.
mean, different cuts of steaks. Some of them are leaner, some of them are not.
Yeah.
Since I've always been kind of into the gym, I've always been doing whey protein. So it's
That's
something
the main
I haven't
thing,
cut
too.
out yet.
We have not cut out the
and
protein.
I don't know if I will right now. It doesn't bother me. I mean,
So far, so good, right?
yeah, as far as I know, it does. It's not bothering me. I'm feeling good, and I definitely want my protein levels as high as possible.
That's the thing. It's
and
so
I was,
hard.
how many times I'm eating twice a day. Is
Yeah,
the
me
only
too.
the only meals I'm having. Too mad. Too mad diet.
Not, oh, man.
Yeah, but
Not yet.
it's hard to get as many grams of protein in those two meals.
Yeah.
If I'm just eating, eggs, meat, stuff like
I
that.
don't know how these people on YouTube are doing that.
Yeah.
The
and then
OMAD.
without breaking the budget, that was one of the other things that I was
Oh,
worried
yeah,
about. I was
yeah.
like, am I going to buy steak every day? Because steak, we started searching for some decent deals, and we find some
Yeah.
pretty good ones. That's usually when we stock up on steaks, when we find a good sale somewhere. But I'm going to still supplement with a little bit of protein here and there.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm mainly worried about, making sure I hit the protein target.
Yeah.
Hit the protein target. So which is 1 gram per pound of weight, of the weight that I want to be at. not my weight now, because that would be a ridiculous amount of protein. But yeah, so that's what I keep hearing, the advice online, and so that's what I'm doing.
You're actually calculating more macros than I am. I
Now
keep track
I am.
of how
At
many
first
grams
I
of
didn't.
protein roughly.
Yeah.
So I know, okay, I need one more meal because I'm only at 150 grams so far. I need to get a little higher.
And I was doing the same thing at first. Yeah. But then I realized, why am I not losing weight? I'm super duper impatient. So why am I not losing weight? Why am I not losing weight? Other people are losing 60 pounds in a month and this and this and that. And it's like, okay. He's like, well, they were 300 pounds. And I'm like, okay, you have a point. I get it. But I get super impatient. So I more recently started calculating all my macros to make sure that I'm not going too high in calories. I know that I'm supposed to be higher in calories in order to not mess up my metabolism and this and that. But with this whole menopause thing, let me tell you, if I'm eating almost 2,000 calories, that is way too much for me. I'll actually gain weight. I'm only 5 feet tall. So I'm tiny this way. So I have to reduce my calories. So I did reduce my calories, and I started again, inching my way down. And I was like, okay, I thought I was just broken, but it turns out that I just needed to reduce my calories a little bit.
And it's better
not ridiculously.
I always tell her it's better to lose weight slowly, steadily, and consistently than crash.
But I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
She's impatient.
I'm very impatient. That's probably why I barely ever stayed consistent with my workouts, because it's like, I would definitely feel more stamina, more strength, and this and that, but I didn't care about that. I cared about looking good. And so I didn't care about stamina and strength. I'm not going to pick up a car or anything anytime soon, but I want to make sure I look shapely, nice, nice. And I was not, he claims that he would see changes in my arms and this and that, but I didn't see anything. So I don't know. So it just felt like useless. Like I'm just working out and doing all this stuff, and I'm always sore for no reason. It just...
Health doesn't matter. No reason.
For no reason. For no reason. Yeah. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Let's see. How difficult is it to follow this diet?
Yeah, how difficult is a carnivore diet? Actually, it's not that difficult. I find it easier than keto.
Yeah,
with the keto, it's like obviously a lot more variety, but it was always like, all right, I kind of got into a groove of eating almost the same thing, the salads,
every day.
A lot of prep.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice in that it's very simple.
Super simple.
I kind of already know what I'm going to have, when I break my fast. And I do some intermittent fasting. I don't do it every day. Depends on when I work out. I generally work out in the morning, but if it's a heavy lifting day, then I'll try to have a meal, or at least some protein and a little fat right after my workout. Mm-hmm. But usually I don't eat until 1, 2, 3 sometimes in the afternoon, and then I'm going to eat one more time. So I know what it's going to be. I generally, eggs and bacon for my first meal, because that's breakfast, and then some kind of, beef. Or chicken, it depends. It's usually beef more often than not. But we do some other things, and my big treat is throwing in the shrimp scampi, which is I finally mastered the shrimp scampi sauce.
It is good.
Of course, I started out with olive oil and a lot of the stuff that's in a traditional scampi sauce, but I cut out the olive oil and I've modified certain things. But it's good, especially
it's still delicious,
not just for the shrimp, but when you have the burger patty to dip the burger.
Yes, please.
Into the scampi sauce.
We got to do a video on that recipe, because you have to dip the hamburger into that sauce. Yeah. It is
the ground
spectacular.
Beef acts like a sponge, which is wonderful.
It does. It just soaks it all up.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
So, but I don't find it, occasionally there'll be a temptation, because, the kids don't want to go carnivore, especially the little one. You're trying to cut back on all the junk that he has eaten over the years, but it's difficult. His grandma will get him lollipop for Valentine's Day or something, but we try to hide those when he's not looking. But, still, like, somebody brought pizza the other night to the house, and it was like, it smells great. I love pizza. But I didn't touch it.
Pizza lovers.
I think I did
pull
a piece of pepperoni off the top. That's all I touched.
Well,
She won't even go that far, but
No.
yeah.
I have
So
zero cravings.
yeah.
Zero temptations, zero cravings because of all the benefits. I didn't even mention my Synthroid dose was lowered. My Synthroid dose was lowered. So when I went to get my labs, I could not believe it. And it had only been 4 weeks.
You were starting to notice like certain signs of something changing with the thyroid.
Yeah, I
Because
was
she's had
starting to get more
symptoms before.
hyperthyroid. I was starting to get more hyperthyroid because if you're taking the medication and you don't need it, if your dose is too high, then or too low, I forget what it is. It's
Probably too
weird
high, 'cause they
It's
lowered
weird,
your
yeah.
dose, yeah.
They lowered my dose, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you start getting more jittery and more like hyper and things like that.
Yeah.
So
when she gets impatient about not losing weight, I'm always like, well, the thyroid is like number one for me. That's the thing I worry about the most. Is if her thyroid's correcting itself in the right direction.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of redundant, correcting itself in the right direction. But you know what I mean. I mean that's a positive, and hopefully it continues on that way. But I was really excited when you got the news that your medication needed to be reduced. So
yeah, I could not believe it because I heard so many people online talking about how it helped and this and that, but then I've heard other people say, oh no, it got worse or something like that. So I was just like, I don't know what's going to happen to me, and I'm in God's hands, So, but so far, in the first 4 weeks, they reduced my medication, and I have to go back now, and from that moment, they told me 6 to 8 weeks. And check it again. And I'll make separate videos for those who are actually interested in thyroid. I'll make specific videos showing my labs and stuff like that and what actually happened.
Yeah, I'll probably do the same when it comes to the cholesterol. Like I said, I'm having a lab in a week or two. Probably going to get testosterone checked just to see. Obviously testosterone.
Because that's another one.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm at. My testosterone's always been okay as
Yeah.
far as I know. But again, as you get older, it usually goes down. And
No, and I know some people, this one doctor, I forgot his name right now.
yeah, he had a problem, right?
His testosterone dropped, and he added fruit and honey. I'm sure.
Paul Saladino, probably.
People, I think it's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So he added fruit and honey and improved his testosterone. But then other people say their testosterone doubled on carnivore with no fruits or honey. So it's like each individual is a world within itself.
Yeah.
So it's just, you have to just try it and see what happens and then make modifications after the fact, because what are you going to do? If you don't try it, you're not going to know.
Yeah.
So we're trying it.
We'll do an update on the tests and see how they come back. And one of the other reasons we started this channel was for accountability and to also engage with the community more. So, feel free to
give us advice,
comment,
please.
give
We
advice,
need advice.
Interact or it's a journey for all of us.
Yeah. So. That's the main thing. We just want to be able to talk to other people, bounce ideas off each other, and maybe get together once in a while. That would be awesome. Make new friends. But yeah. And that's all we got to say for today. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're interested in following this journey that we're on, please do not hesitate to like, share, and subscribe for more.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.